Moonage Daydream, out in theaters, new documentary feature about the life and work of David Bowie, starting from his Ziggy Stardust tour into the following decades where he would change styles and reinvent himself constantly to create this amazing legacy that continues on after his passing. What I loved most about the film, and it is a great film, is that it's not a typical music biopic. You know how those always go. Childhood with parents who don't want the person to become a musician, then they discover the talent, sign with a label, rise to fame, brings trouble, there's some drama, and the inevitable comeback. There's none of that here. In fact, Moonage Daydream is about as far away from that formula as it's possible to go. It's made as a sort of trippy psychedelic journey, a collage made of recordings from Bowie's live shows, excerpts from his interviews, shots from his movies and photo ops, his paintings, and also just other stuff of cultural relevance from the time period which had some sort of connection to his work. It feels a little bit like a musical fever dream, a sort of stream of consciousness type thing where the chronology of events or the fact of Bowie's life are less important than the feeling of his art, the idea of him as a person and his legacy, which I think is not only refreshing and interesting on its own, but also incredibly fitting for the type of artist that Bowie was. I mean, he often challenged norm and reinvented himself, pushed new boundaries, and tried things just for the fuck of it. So it fits that a movie about him is also far from what we would consider normal. And through it all, you actually do get to learn quite a lot about his career and who he was as a person and why he's so celebrated as an artist and a cultural icon. You also get an insight into how his outlook on life changed with the years, which I found incredibly fascinating. I think it's only natural that we all change as we age and grow, but it feels like nowadays, especially, people don't particularly like to admit that very often, to having changed their views, to having once been maybe not even wrong, but just having a different perspective and accepting, all of those perspectives as valid. And so seeing Bowie talk himself about this stuff very naturally, without any fear or shame whatsoever, and admitting that being very open about how he thinks and why and how he changed his mind on things, was indeed quite refreshing. In terms of the visuals and the music, the film is top-notch. It really manages to capture this wild and unpredictable nature of Bowie the artist, and swing between sometimes even oppressive and loud music performances to quiet moments of introspection and conversation. I found it very, very good, not just as a documentary about a musician, but as a work of art itself, and also as something that made me think about my own approach to life, to processing my experiences, to being open to change and evolution and the transient nature of things. So I recommend this film wholeheartedly, although it's best if you know what you're going into, because a regular, typical biography is not what you should be expecting.